So, good morning to everyone. So, in the previous session, we have studied about the APIs, that is application programming interface. So, in this session, we have to study about the how can we develop the Java program, in how many ways we are going to be study about, and how can we develop the Java programs. So, this is the thing here part. So, actually, when you talk about the Java, so Java is a purely object oriented. So, it is a purely object oriented. So, we can develop the Java programs in the two ways. So one is the applet type and one is application type. So when you talk about the programming part, that is we have the every programmers or the senior developers or the junior developers as writing the source code, Java source code, and it is going to be compiled and given the bytecode understood by the system. So actually this is all the thing part of that. So when you talk about the how can we develop the Java program, so we may say that in a two ways we can develop the Java program. So one is a standalone application, we call it as, and the second one is web applets. So the Java programming language can be developed in a two ways. One is a standalone application, one is a web applets. So what is this, a standalone application and a web applets? You may get the doubt. So in the two ways, better to we are going to be developing the Java program in the two ways. One is a standalone application, that is applet type, we call it as a application type, standalone application, and web applets. So the web applets contain the Java enabled web browsers, and when it's come to the application type, so same as it gives both outputs. But what is the differences? Why we need to be developed in the two ways the Java program? You may get the doubt. So sometimes you are going to be developing of your program or the web application by using the standalone application or the web applet. So based on what you are going to be developed, so that's what the Java program can be developed in the two ways. One is a standalone and a web applet. So what is a standalone application? And we get the doubt. So in a simple way, in a simple manner, we can define and we can understand the standalone application and the web applets. So for the having given a slide information in the further modules, we will go through in a depth way on the what are the standalone application and the web applets, how we are going to create the applets, and why we need to create the web applets, and how the web applets is going to be run and the standalone applications are created, and how it is going to be run, how it is going to be tested. So this and all we will study in the further modules. Now for the sake of that, so now we are going to only focus on that. How can we develop the Java program? So actually we know that two ways we can develop. One is a standalone application and a web applet. So what is a standalone application and a web applets? So I say that in a simple term, standalone application. So standalone application are the Java programs used to perform certain tasks and user decisions would be run in the local computers. So in fact, the Java can be developed by using the standalone application, like which modern tools they use of the C language or the C++ language, by using the C language and the C++ language which were developed in the earlier, that can be developed by using the Java and using the standalone application. So earlier developed by using the C++ and the C language, and now we can develop by using the standalone application and having the wide range effect. So okay, apart from that, we know about the what is a standalone application. It is quite simple and useful for the development of the program which are earlierly developed. We can develop now using the standalone applications. It is very good. So but how can we execute, or what are the steps that the standalone application can implement? So I say that so only two steps it's follow. So basically the programmer is going to write the source code. So the source code has to be compiled. So which should be understood by the system. Actually the source code directly doesn't understand the system. So actually the programmer is going to be write the source code. That's why I have given here the source code, Java source code. And actually the source code has to be compiled. So for what it is going to be compiled? So the source code is written by the Java programmer, and the compiler has to be compiled the bytecode, so which is understood by the system. So for compiling the source code into bytecode using the Java C compiler, so we will use many people are writing the program so in the notepad, and the note in a writing of a notepad in a program, and they are going to create one folder and they are saving the program, and directly they will go to the CMD, that is a command prompt, and actually they will use to compile the source code into the bytecode. That is a backend work we cannot see, so directly we will use the Java C compiler. Those are the class name we will give. So then it is going to be compiled. If there is any compile time errors, it will give the compile time errors. If there is no compile time errors, it directly goes to next step. So for what has to be execute, the next step has to be execute. So at that time, it is going to be checked whether any errors is there in the compile time error. It will check. So after that, next step. When you go to so I have the bytecode. So I have the source code, the Java compiler has compiled and it given the bytecode. So taking the bytecode, what I have to do? So basically, if I have the bytecode, so I have to execute that. So how can you execute that? So executing the bytecode by using the Java interpreter. So we actually every time we are going to study about the Java is an interpreted language. Java is an interpreted language. So why the interpreted language? Java is an interpreted language. Why it is interpreted language? Why? Because whenever we are giving the bytecode by using the interpreter, our program, the whole program or the application is going to be run. So basically, we studied in the further modules, the Java is going to be supported for the many organizations and a wide range effect. And of course, it is not a low level language. We call it as Java is a high level programming language. So we know about what is Standalone application. So in the 2 steps, we can clearly know that. So converting the bytecode in a simple way, I can say that, define that. So for executing the Standalone application, it involves in the 2 steps. So one is converting the source code into bytecode using the Java C compiler and executing the bytecode using the Java interpreter. So in a 2 ways, in a couple of sentences, we understood the Standalone application. So okay, the Standalone application we keep aside. Why? Because we develop our Java program in the Standalone application. We are keeping aside about the Standalone application. So when we got through about the web applets. So what is this web applet? So web applets. So when we talk about the little thing, what is the applet? Is it right? So apart from that, leave it the web. So web is nothing but we know about the web application, and many people also know about what is a web and what is a web application. Okay, so apart from that, keep aside about the web. Okay, what is applet? Yeah, so we didn't study in the C or the C++ language what is a applet. So when you come to here, what is a very, very important thing here, the applet type or the application type. These are all the words you might be listening in the Java programming language. So what is applet? So applets are the small Java programs developed for the internet application. So actually before we have seen in the diagram itself, Java enabled web browser. So this Java enabled web browser comes under the Java internet. So Java and internet we will study in about the Java enabled web browser. So applets are created, applet tags are going to be created, and how we can develop the applet type and application type. Two modern ways we can know that. So there's no lot to think about here now to learn. So just having a slight glance on information on this. So in the further modules, we'll go in the deep on this. So we have know about what is applet. So applets are the small Java programs developed for the internet applications, or the IoT applications, or the internet of applications, or any more. So actually we can develop applets from simple animated to the complex gaming utilities. So by using the applet, so in a simple way, first we are going to create our simple web applets, and it goes back up to the complex gaming utilities. Such a way it is take about for the development. So not only that, since applets are embedded in an HTML, that is hypertext markup language, and documents run inside web pages, running applets are the more complex than creating an application. So actually when you talk about the web applets, actually everyone are saying that about the web application or the web development, what is the roadmap about the web development, and how can we create the web application, how can I create my own website. So these are all the things here. So actually when it's come to the Java enabled web browser, so this comes under we talked about the what is Java and internet. Will come about the Java enabled web browser. So before that, I will give a slight glance information on this. So what this here? So actually when we are going to be develop our web application, so at that time point of view, we are going to create the applet types on documents and pages, and using the hypertext markup language, that is we call it as HTML. So using that, we are going to be create applets, and using the integration in the configuration part, when we take about the HTML, and we are going to take about the HTML part and creating the web applets by using the Java enabled web browser. So in the earlier classes we studied about the using the Java we can create the website or the web applications. It's a very quite simple, the scalability and the faster development. So these are many advantages. If you want to build a website or the web application, the Java is very good for the supporting of the simple to complex animated. So but the thing is, how can we develop the concept which you take? Only two parts it is going to be described. So one is how many ways we can develop our Java program. So we have the two ways. One is a standalone application, one is a web applet. Okay, so the standalone application, when you talk about the standalone application, is mostly used for the like the insurance companies or any large applications, the large projects. So the standalone application focus on only the development side, which would earlier talked about the APIs. So at the type point of view, the standalone application is very important thing. So when you talk about the web applets, it is totally related to the web application, how you are going to create your web application, or whether you are going to integrate it with the HTML or the CSS. That's a point of view. So how you can design and how can you implement, that's apart from you. So when you talk about the web applet, so the web applet is purely related for the web applications, how you are creating your website or any e-commerce website based on your requirement. So that's depends upon you. So now in this session what we studied is, can we develop the Java program in a two ways? Yes. So actually one is a standalone application and a web applets. In a two ways we can develop our Java program. Such a beauty we have in the Java program. So if you like this video, make sure one like and subscribe for more videos.